listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shemaiah Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shemaiah Reed.
Welcome back to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today. We have another show lined up for y'all today. Today, we have Dr. Joy Kong. She has an amazing website, super easy, joykongmd.com. That's joykongmd.com. She is a UCLA-trained, triple board certified physician, a regenerative medicine and anti-aging expert, stem cell specialist, an educator, entrepreneur, an author. And my gosh, I'm getting tired of listening to all these amazing things. So let me just cut to the chase and say, you know what? If you want the 20-minute version of going through her bio, that might have to be a private club interview. But let me just cut to the chase, because you can Google her. There you go. I just saved y'all like 10 minutes of the show and find out all the amazing stuff that she's doing. She has a lot of things that she's building, creating, and most importantly, professional. She has so many things on her resume and her bio of just amazing work. I'm sorry I made that so simple, but it'll probably take me 20 minutes to finish your bio. So just go to joykongmd.com to see all the long marathon lists of what she's accomplished, because she's accomplished a lot. So first and foremost, Dr. Kong, thank you for being on the show, because your resume is longer than my hair, which is not that hard to beat.
Thank you, Shemaiah. So happy to be here.
And on a serious note, you have so much that you have done professionally. Kind of do us the honor and just tell us a little bit of summary of what you've been able to accomplish in your professional field.
Yeah, so I decided, took me a while to decide to be a doctor. And once I decided, that was just the most incredible thing that I think a person can do, as a role in the world, which is to help reduce suffering and make people's life better. And then I can utilize all this science and technology and also my own empathy, my own energy as a healer. So everything is coming together. Initially, I actually specialized in psychiatry because I love the brain. I want to help people just feel better mentally. And then I saw the limitations of traditional psychiatry, which was not looking at all the causes for mental conditions. So there's so much. The body is so complex. Everything is affecting how the brain is functioning. And traditional psychiatry almost completely ignored it. So I was searching for something that's more holistic, that can help my patients on a deeper level. And that led me to functional medicine and anti-aging medicine, which are the disciplines that are looking at deeper layers of how the body is functioning or dysfunctioning by looking at nutrients, microbiome, toxicity, hormones. So like all these things are addressed. And this is really the way of the future. The future of medicine is holistic medicine. It's funny, one time we were calling it alternative medicine. It's alternative no more. This is just the future, period. Within that future of medicine, stem cell therapy is a huge component, because this is where we came from. We all came from a single stem cell. And within the stem cell is the DNA. And that is the most energy-dense substance in the universe. And that's packed with intelligence. So now we're utilizing intelligence to help the body. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because I've seen miracles. I've seen incredible things it can do that conventional medicine has no way of helping. And I don't even know how these cells did it. But the intelligence within it, it's like light just coming through, manifesting. And it's absolutely, and now I'm sounding metaphysical. Of course, spirituality, metaphysics, those were taboo in medicine. But I think we're opening up to the potentials of things that we don't understand, and the possibilities that we are a little speck in the universe, and the universe is much more magical and profound than we knew. So now we're just borrowing little piece of that magic in medicine now. So that's kind of what happened 10 years ago when I encountered stem cell therapy. And that was a point of no return because I was so inspired. I wanted to inspire my patients, inspire other doctors. So then my clinical practice, blossomed. And then I started training other doctors. I have an academy. And then I also have a stem cell company where I wanted to make sure whatever product we're using is actually the most sound scientifically, has the best foundation, because we're going to have the best cell types. We're going to have the best the potency as far as how many cells we have and what kind of cells. So from there, that's that's the full circle, right? I'm in an arena to provide products. Products is really one of the most important things in stem cell therapy. You have to put the right cells in the body. And the other side is providing the technology, the techniques of how to do it. You have to put it in the right place. So how do you do this? So that's the educational part. So now everything is all coming together. And then, and just a little side note, I also started a cosmetic company because I just wanted something really good for my own skin. It was really hard to find something that's super clean, but also really works. So that's when I brought in my knowledge in stem cells and peptides, and also my love of natural remedies, and then brought them all together to make this natural skincare, Chara Omni. So those are a few more, major things I'm doing. Besides the podcast, I also host.
Wow. You host a podcast? Wow. I mean, the reason why I say that is because I can't imagine your calendar has to be so full you need 40 days instead of 30 days because, wow. I mean, y'all heard it just right there. A lot of great information being shared. Once again, listen on Refocused Radio, watching us online, talking to our guest today, Dr. Joy Kong. Go to her website, joykongmd.com. When you think about all it takes to build this momentum as a professional and launch these businesses and be in charge of a lot of leadership and opportunities of being responsible. I mean, that's great to say, but it's a little bit more tricky to do. And also, you're an author, talking about Tommy, and a lot of time you have on your calendar. You wrote the award-winning book, Tiger of Beijing. But you do actually tell your powerful journey from China to America. I want to tie that personally to this interview episode because you had to start soon. So when you think about your life's journey from your goals and your dreams to actually living them, being that professional, being in the medical world, changing lives, giving people solutions. I mean, unpack that if you can. What inspires you to keep moving forward and keep getting better and better throughout your professional world? I was a
precocious little kid. Always thought too much. I was pondering the meaning of existence when I was 7 years old and wondering why I'm here. And I remember as a teenager, probably 12 or 15, right around that time, I was just sitting by a little lake on the university campus I grew up in. I went there a lot, and I was walking around and sitting there just kind of pondering, and I felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders because I felt there was so much suffering in the world, and there are a lot of pain. What can I do? What can I do to make this a little bit happier place and make it better, have people live in a more uplifted way and just, happier. So I remember thinking that I was worried about the people of the world. And so that was kind of in me. And I felt that I could do something great. I felt this greatness. I mean, it sounds a little, it's not egotistical. It's how I felt. I felt that there's this greatness inside of me that I have to let it come out for the world, that I have to give it to the world. So that I sensed, and I couldn't put it, I didn't share it with anybody because it was just a sense that I'm destined for something great. So I'm just getting started still. There's so much to do. There's so much to do. I want to bring this to everybody. I want to bring stem cell therapy, this healing, to way more people. I want to 10 times, 100 times the people I've been able to reach. And I want to do more, for helping the world, maybe consciousness, because to be in a happier place. It's not just about physically being in a better shape and with less aches and pains and, sharper brain. You've got to elevate your consciousness. How can we grow compassion for each other and bring more love to the world, not just to each other, but to animals and plants and just everything? How can we elevate ourselves? So that's kind of the bigger scheme of who I am.
People, we can't just dream. We can't just chase the dream. We have to know what fulfills us. Like, what is our purpose? What is our passion or why? And you're the definition of what the show is about. I mean, we've been spending years since 2017. We've been spending all that time highlighting people like yourself, trying to dig deeper. Okay, what is that blueprint? What worked for you? What is your story? Because when someone listens to this, someone hears this, sees this, they hopefully are going to get that light switch cut on and say, aha, if that's what she can do, I'm going to get in the health field too. When you think about the young woman that might see this, or young man that might see this or hear this, and they feel like, I had that drive. I had that moment when I was little, younger, and I feel like there's a lot of weight on me, but good weight that inspires me to want to do something in this world that leaves a legacy. What words of encouragement would we say to them? Because it's one thing to have in your mind, but it's another thing when you're out in the field, academics, hitting those grades, getting that job, working up the ladder, starting your business. That's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. I think be really honest with yourself and just, I have brutal honesty with myself. Like last thing I want to have is to delude myself and think that I'm greater than I am. And I probably shouldn't delude myself in thinking I'm less than I am, right? I think a lot of people may fall into that and start to feel bad about themselves. That can be a form of delusion as well. You don't know your full capacity. So don't discount who you are and keep pushing, because when you have a destination in mind, and it may look like there's no road to get there, but if you don't go out and start to put into action something, then the universe has no way of helping you to get there. So you have an objective in mind. Like for me, my very first big goal was to get to America. And that seemed very, very out there. All my friends were doubting me, were telling me they thought I was a little crazy for even wanting to do it. But then I put that in my head. That's exactly in my heart. That's what I wanted. I just really wanted to be there. And then I tried the usual way, which is to apply for a visa, get all my, whatever documents together. And that took a long time. So 18 months of hard work, and I still got rejected, but I didn't give up because I felt that's where I belong. That's what's meant to be. If I give it the best, like I was going to give it like a full year. If then I still couldn't do it, okay, fine. I'll stay in China. I'll pivot to, it doesn't mean that I won't get there sometime later, but okay, I'm practical, but then I want to give things a chance. I want to do the best I can. So in the book, I talked about how I did things that are a little unconventional. I literally cold called hotel rooms, which is crazy, of the best hotels in Beijing, because I was really mad, because I got rejected of the visa because I didn't know any Americans, and no one could write a decent affidavit of support that embassy would believe. So that was my entry point. Okay, fine. Then I'll meet somebody. So I went ahead and I just started meeting people. Some are not very savory, people, but I did it. And then the universe opened up. So I think and 8 months later, I landed in San Francisco. So that was a very, very good example to me. Is like, Joy, if you believe in something, you push for it, you're going to get there. So it's the same determination that I'm using here in regenerative medicine, because it's not considered it's not an FDA approved, is on the edge. Now is more accepted, but 10 years ago is more on the edge. I didn't care because I saw the science and I saw the studies and I saw in my own patients what it did. So I'm going to push for it because that's a right thing to do. That's a right direction in history. So, and now I want to do something on a bigger scale when it comes to stem cells, regenerative medicine. And that's not easy. But I remember that little girl that had no money riding on a, little old bicycle across Beijing, in the dust. And I could make myself, and could get myself into this incredible country, against all obstacles. And I don't think doing this is going to be more difficult. So just step by step, what I have to remind myself is to be steady and not spin out of control because there's so much to do, which is to center yourself, spend the time, be with yourself, and which will allow you to think more clearly as well. So go take some walks, be in nature, just allow your kind of deeper intelligence to surface and help you.
Well, speaking of clarity, joy is a great name, by the way. We need more joy and sunshine in the world today. There's always a crossroads when someone is going on in their life, when it comes to difficult seasons versus living up to the moment. Showing up is, I heard countless times on this show with amazing minds and professionals saying, now is the moment, meet it, show up, be there. Don't be the person that says, I'll wait till next year, I'll wait till whenever, because it may never come, number one. And number two, if not now, then when? If not you, then who? So land a spaceship to my question is, when you think about all the work you put into and all the pouring of sacrificing your time and energy, building this dream, your life, when you've been through those hard times, those hard seasons, what kept you motivated to keep showing up and to not quit when you probably had a good reason to?
Quitting is really not an option. I think life is beautiful, despite the pain. There's so much pain. But that's part of life. But life, no matter how difficult it is still a gift. Just because the fact that you're breathing, you're feeling, you're seeing things, tasting things, that is a gift. So that itself, no matter how difficult it gets, is an amazing thing to be able to be here. And really, we in ourselves, we're capturing part of the miracle. I don't think human mind can comprehend who created us and how it's done. I don't think we're able to comprehend, but we have captured part of that magic. So, and it's a gift that we're here living with part of creation's magic. And to be here and experience this. So I think it's, even in tough times, just know that tough time, the fact you're breathing is a gift, and it will get better. And besides, what's the worst thing going to happen? It's just, you're going to move on to a better place. So I've always felt like there's no fear. What's the worst thing that can happen? So with that out of the way, just don't fear. Everything is going to be fine. Especially if you have a spiritual practice and you really try to understand that there's much more to this existence. And then I think you remove the fear. If you don't have the fear, then it's about just being here and experiencing it and going through this. and try to make it better, make this a learning experience, make this something that you can do something to contribute. So I'm focusing my energy on contributing to the world, and talk about tough times. I've just gone through tough times because people don't do what they say, because people have sometimes intentions that are not honorable, and they could do something to hurt you in various ways. So I have gone through that, just recently, and I'm still dealing with some of it. But I'm not going to let that take away my joy. I'm here. I've got people who love me. I've got, little kitties in my house who are just magical, right? There's so much amazing things. So don't let anything to take away your joy. And then everything will be fine. We'll all get better. If you have your focus on the end goal. What is the goal? What do you want in life? If you want in your life, you want more joy, then start now. Start to feel. And if you can't feel joy, maybe you should see a doctor. Maybe there are physical issues in your brain if you really can't feel joy. But if you're having enough of brain power to sense happiness, then tap into it. So that's kind of that's how you get through tough times.
It's good. Once again, listen on Refocused Radio and watching us online, talking to our guest today, Dr. Joy Kong. Go to their website, joykongmd.com. And I know ice is on the stove is melting like crazy, but we're almost landing the airplane here. But I have a couple more questions. When you look back and reflect on the scientific data that you focus on and zoom in on and lean on, but also the passion, authenticity, and integrity of your work, why are these values so important for someone like you in this field when it seems like it's kind of oversaturated being talked about today?
Are you talking about stem cell therapy being oversaturated? Yeah. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of companies producing stem cells. There are a lot of clinics providing stem cell treatments. So some are more anchored in the drive to help others heal, and some more anchored in just making money at whatever cost. So, there has to be some kind of balance. So I do believe there are people who strike that balance, who provide things with integrity, at the same time also making, bringing abundance, right, to themselves, their families. So I think it's possible to have both, but the driving force has to be the right one. So for me, I'm always about doing the right things, providing value, giving the best to the world, and then I know I'll be rewarded because I'm producing value. I'm not worried about it. So as long as I'm giving the best, then everything will just flow. So, but I'm not going to sacrifice, because I see that in the field. That's why I started my own stem cell company in the first place. I really had no intention of getting into the business of distributing stem cells. I just wanted to help people to feel better. I just wanted to be a doctor. But then because the companies I was working with was not using the integrity as a guiding principle, both scientific integrity and business integrity. And that's when I got disappointed after working with several companies. And that's how I started my own, because I just, I wanted to do it right. So people need to, unfortunately, it's a little difficult because there's so much information floating around and people are listening to, they're pulled in all these directions. Even Tony Robbins, I love what he represents, and his book made a huge difference, the Life Force. But in the chapters about stem cells, and it's still full of, there are quite a few mistakes. So then it's not really the right information for people. He didn't personally write those chapters, but so-called experts, unfortunately there are things that were not accurate, and those things keep perpetuating, which is why I try so hard on YouTube channels or whatever social media channels to speak up, right? And someone has to tell people what the truth is and what's going on, because the overseas clinics have their objectives, because they can do things that we cannot do in the United States. But that doesn't make it better. So people, but then the rhetoric became that you can't do stem cell therapy in the U.S., you have to go overseas, and that just completely, that's just bogus. But I can't tell you how many people I meet this day, right, in the metropolitan area like Los Angeles, still are believing that. So the misinformation, actually, it's pretty powerful. It has a strong hold. So I'm here to spread real information. So people need to find the right source, and it is confusing, but find someone you can trust and figure out, or you're just doing your own research, which is laborious, but I've done the research for you. But find somebody with integrity and really give you the correct information. Yeah, so that's one advice I have. The United States actually is leading the world in stem cell therapy. I don't care what people say. We have the most amount of research and the most amount of therapies. So despite all these myths.
And to bring this in full circle for the viewer and the listener, those who are on top of trying to get better with their health, trying to have a better, healthy lifestyle. If you're honest, too many times we don't really pay attention to our health until there's a crisis. And when that crisis comes, we're scrambling for answers. We're trying to use, can't name names, but we're trying to use AI systems to diagnose or to give us the genie in the bottle, breaking news solution that is going to fix all of our problems. You don't usually do that, but sometimes people do, unfortunately. What do you say to that point, as far as people who truly want to get their health better, back on track, but sometimes we let it slip too far to where we find ourselves in a crisis and we become desperate?
Yeah, you have to get to your center and really look at how you're treating this gift that's given to you, right? If you've messed up, you did things that are not so good for yourself, the body we are very resilient. So people can do pretty bad things to themselves and still come back and thriving and regain their health. So that's how miraculous our bodies are. So I think, it's never too late, and be kind to your body and find a good doctor that can help you. I mean, you can try it on your own too, but sometimes you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what your body, what the state of your body is. And without testing, without really analyzing, then you're kind of, you're blindly trying to move forward. So find a good guide. And, there's so many incredible tools these days. So, the right diet, the detox, those are the first two things. Yeah, move your body, and then you're building a good foundation, and the rest of it is optimizing.
Once again, listen on Refocused Radio. I'm talking to our guest today, Dr. Joy Kong. And go to her website, joykongmd.com. That's joykongmd.com. Don't know where the time went, but it's definitely out of here. One more question I want to squeeze in is, when you look into anticipating the future, it's always coming fast. I can't believe we're in July already. What excites you most right now in the future as far as stem cell therapy?
Yeah, I think we're getting closer and closer to a point where it's very possible that we're not going to age and we're not going to die. So just, let that sink in for a second and imagine what that's going to do. And that, at that point, it's even more important that we elevate our consciousness if we're going to be around for a very long time. Because now, the bad people, right? The good thing about despots and bad leaders is that they all die. No matter these dictators, bad people die. So if you don't, anyhow. So I digress. But I think it's really exciting that, imagine nowadays we're doing Botox and fillers, plastic surgeries. Pretty soon, I think we can do one injection and our skin will revert back to how it was, decades ago. Just imagine that, that kind of breakthrough and possibility. I definitely think that's possible. So we live in a state of health. I think it's maybe, I don't know, 10 years, 20 years away. So it's just really important for us to be kind to our body and sustain it until that day comes. And we probably will be doing a podcast with each other 200 years from now.
Wow, that'll be something that I will definitely watch on Netflix. And disclaimer, Netflix is not part of the show, but I'm just saying it's a sense of humor. I think many people would like to binge watch or listen to that. Once again, we're talking to our guest today, Dr. Joy Kang. Go to her website, joykangmd.com. That's joykangmd.com. And also you can get a copy of her award-winning book, Tiger of Beijing, where she tells her powerful journey from China to America. I don't know how time seems to just float and evaporate like crazy when on the show, but boom, we hit 30 minutes. So there you go. I want to say to you, thank you for your time. And if you had anything else you want to say to our viewers or listeners, what would that be?
So just be brave, tap into your own courage in whatever you do. Courage to overcome a bad habit, courage to overcome a difficult situation, and courage to seek out, to fulfill your dreams. And I think that's that's my suggestion, because that's one thing I've tapped into, which is courage, and you have to call upon it, right? You because it's there. So that's If people want to follow me, they can go on Instagram, Dr._Joy_Kang, and continue conversation. But if they want to know a lot more about stem cell therapy, just go on my YouTube channel, because if you want to know what's real, what's not, and a lot of the nitty-gritties of stem cell therapy, I was there. I'm on YouTube to educate.
Awesome. Well, with that, I want to say thank you for your time and appreciate it.
Thank you, Shemaiah.